Good afternoon po, Dean. I am the interviewer of Group 5. I am John Marcos Tesorero. And right now, I am together with the IABF Dean, Mr. Borgoña. And, how are you today po?
Very busy. You know, every day is filled up with a lot of meetings. I also have a class. That's why I'm really always on the go. So that, well, it is something that you expect from the work of the deans, and I'm not complaining. But you see me come and go in the office, and students are really wanting to get a schedule to talk, and there's a lot of people that we have set a meeting with, so that usually the way I spend the day.
I am very glad that we are one of the first to schedule a meeting, and you get to see us. We get to see you din po. So, can I start with a question?
Yes. Is that all?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry. Okay.
For the first question, do you think you were born to be the IABF Dean, or the time made you one?
For my case, I actually grew up in a school. My family owns a school. So during my formative years, we live inside the campus. We have a house inside the school. So growing up, it's just like making the school as our playground. So that is not new to me, in the sense that I'm now working with one of the top universities in the Philippines. So the things that I was like growing up with are also part of the things that I have carried with me when I started to work with Far Eastern University. So my exposure to the academy and in the education is really very rich. My grandfather is an educator. He founded the school in 1948. It's just a small college found somewhere in the province up in the north, and that is where we used to live. And then I had the opportunity to work and serve when my father took over the management of the school. But I spent my elementary years there, and we were brought back to Manila, and this is where I get my secondary education. And I was also schooled in Manila, or in the city, and I had the opportunity to go to one of my dream universities during that time, and that was FEU. So I took up accountancy here, but did not finish the program here. Went to another school which is nearer to our house. So that is how I got to be involved in education, and it's not something new to me.
I feel very overwhelmed, since I kind of relate, since I also came from a family of educators. So it's like I also feel like school is always one with me, since I used to grow up in schools. My grandmother, as a principal, always bring me to her office.
But did you live inside the school? I live inside the school because our house was located inside the school campus. So the one that I grew up with is that the rooms of the schools and the facilities that we have, they are part of the playground that we had during that time. So practically that is how I said that I grew up in the school. My grandfather is an educator. My father is a business educator, so he's not really an educator, never taught in the college or in high school. but he's on the side of like running the business. But but my grandfather is. That's the reason why he was able to put up the school.
That seems to be a long line of leaders
Yeah.
and educators. So, going to the second question, how do you inspire or influence your followers?
My followers, well, some of the things that I have come to learn from my fathers are actually the values that I also use when I was given the opportunity to work with people in the university. So the values that I learn, especially with dealing with different people, sometimes you can see that I understand better how the management works, because that is also where I came from. I started to work with the management side of the school, but we live on the ground. So part of what our training, every members of the family, is that we clean the school. We wake up very, very early. We scrub the floors of the school. That is how we get to be trained. And then every time that we have to do something for the school, we get paid. So nothing comes for free. So that is how I learned to value and love the kind of work that I see in others, the janitors, the security guards, the teachers, the staff. So that is how I was able to get this kind of good relationship with them. I do not have a distant relationship wherein people who belongs to the management or family or relatives of those who are running the school usually get the special treatment. But with our case, no, we simply have to live with what is seen in the ordinary people. And that is also what I had to bring with me when I get the chance to work in another organization. So that is what I use as my philosophy, the values that I have, and that is also why I can easily assimilate in the organizational culture. That is very distinct in every organization.
I love the fact that you also first-hand experience the way that the staff does their work. So you really said that there's no distance within the management and the staff. So, to another question, what are the steps or processes you did to become a dean?
And then I work really. I started to work from the ground, meaning I started to work as a teacher, as a regular teacher, and then given the task of assuming a higher role, in the sense that I was appointed as the assistant program head for the accountancy, and then worked my way up as the program head, and then associate dean, and then I was also appointed to work in the admission and financial assistance office as the director. That was like quite a short stint, but it has brought me into another level of looking at the kind of work that is given to the, what you call this, they call it as the gatekeepers. Usually this is the kind of job that you do when you try to get more students to come and study in your university, and I had a chance for that. Although the kind of training that I had in our school is that we get to articulate, we get to go around the 27 municipalities of our province, get to talk to the different school administrators, principals, teachers, and try to convince the students that they have options, that if they wanted to go to a school, it will always be their choice. That is why when you are given the chance to select which of the colleges and universities available in your area or in the city, you have to make the decision, because that is what you can say that your school is your choice.
So that is like a very long timeline. If it is okay to ask, may I ask, how long did it took, or how it is long in the making to become a dean?
With my case, it's quite short. I mean, for those you have seen, maybe they usually spend quite a number of years. I started to join FEU in 2012. That is 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, but this is already my 5th year as the dean. But my position is still OIC-Dean. So it is not a full-fledged dean that you can see. That's the reason why I have 3 extra letters before the name dean. So it's OIC-Dean. So quite a short, but the experience that I had that includes in the industry and the academies would run for about like 20 years. And being exposed in school administration, being part of what my family runs as a business, actually gave me the edge. There's nothing much of like adjustment that learning the policies that the CHED as the regulators or regulator of educational institutions. I have learned that before I came to join FEU. I know I have been exposed. I've been sent by my father in different international summit for university president representing him. I have been to different countries. I have met different people. Some of them came to study in our province or in the Philippines. So these are some of the things that I was able to bring with me when I was given the opportunity to head the Institute of Accounts, Business and Finance. And of course, my stint in the corporate world that would run for about like 15 years also gave me the vast network that I have with the different companies that I have worked with, the different corporations or organizations that I have been exposed and was able to establish a good relationship. Those are some of the things that actually make my work easier, because bringing the industry closer to the academe is something that we have worked greatly in the institute. That is why you enjoy a lot of the kind of programs that we have introduced. And those are some of the results, maybe of a good relationship that I had during the time that I was still in the corporate.
I heard some sort of business related and relationship, and that is actually related to the next question. IABF includes business courses. In the way you lead, and you have to use businessman-like tactics to influence your subordinates. So if there is, or what are the businessman-like tactics or perspective you put in managing the IABF?
I don't usually use a particular tactic, but what I bring with the organization is a kind of mindset that if you know how to respect others, especially their opinions, in business, it's really something that is very critical in the sense that the one who is at the helm is the one who makes the decision. My kind of leadership is more democratic. I would like to ask, of course, the opinion of those who works under me, and that would promote a kind of atmosphere wherein people would enjoy working with you if they see that you give importance to their thoughts, ideas, or opinions, but not necessarily that you will follow what they will decide on, but at least getting their ideas and opinions would give them the sense of belongingness, that you care for what they think, what their opinion is, and what are the things that they are very passionate about. It's something that you can consider when you make the big decision. So that is how I see it. So business tactics is something that made also the business in education more professional now, because when you see there's a lot of universities or colleges that has been run by people who do not have the experience in the corporate world, but bringing something like the good business practice that you can find in corporation, and that is what I have used as part of the things that I can think of when running an institute, and that is the concept of what you call corporatization. You bring the best practices in business. If this is a school, since they are of different industry, when you can have those kind of practices, then it promotes efficiencies, effectiveness, and that's what makes the school great. And getting the exposure that I have in the corporate and bringing it to the academy is something that is very useful and relevant also, because it gives them another perspective. Because as you can see, academe is somewhat very conservative, because this is a school. Business, sometimes they are very, very aggressive. They wanted to get new things. There are innovations that they can easily implement. The school is very, very slow on that, because one, they fear for like the change that they have to implement is something that is always resisted by people who are afraid to get out of their comfort zone. But in business, there will always be that kind of mindset that you would like to try something new, and if it works, good. If not, then change again and try another thing that will work. So it's easier to implement that in business, but in school, it's kind of like static.
I really love the flow, since the next question also correlates to what you have said. Does the opinion of your subordinates give a huge influence in considering their performance?
Their opinions regarding what? Regarding me or regarding
the task?
Their opinion. Well, you know, everything that they have to do when they are assigned to do some work will always be based on, first on their position, on their post or position. Second, on their DNR. What is DNR? That is the duties and responsibilities. That is quite very specific, because that is provided when you get the post, and this is the kind of things expected that you will do. Opinions on the kind of work, whether they would think that it's difficult, if it is like assigned to them, then that is something that I think could be considered. It's either they can take it with no objection, or they can take it as a challenge if in case they find it very difficult. But I think giving them the opportunity to try something is what makes them better, and maybe they can improve on if they can accomplish the things that are assigned to them. But mind you, things that are new to them will always be resisted, and usually that is where they express their opinion, whether in negative or positive way. But sometimes people would talk and say things that they think they cannot do, but given the chance, if you give them the opportunity and the kind of support that they need, they can do well, and that is the time that they would realize that they have the skills and they are good. It only takes someone to tell them that they have what it takes to become successful or to become better. And sometimes these people, the reason why they think of themselves that they cannot do anything assigned to them, especially giving them new assignment, is because they were never given the opportunity. But given all the kind of support that they need, that is also what I do, maybe that would change the kind of opinion that they would express if in case they will be asked to do some task.
Another one, when you were newly promoted as a new OIC-Dean, what are the most notable experience you have encountered?
First, maybe the kind of reactions that other people would be taking on me, because I was like younger than they are. And second, I am newer in the sense that I barely have like spent a substantial number of years in the university. This year I've worked like 10, 20, 30 years and have not been given the opportunity to lead the organization. But I appreciate the fact that the opportunity given to me is maybe based on the kind of qualities and the potential that they see in a person. So it just so happened that maybe I was in the right place at the right time. That is what I can say. Maybe I am just the accidental dean. I have never planned or never dreamed of becoming one. Never thought that I can teach, because I am more exposed to the corporate world, being a professional accountant and having worked in different industries. I never realized that I would be in the academy. because this is something that I have lived in my younger years, and I wanted to change the kind of environment. I never thought that I would go back to like being in school.
Based on some articles and like movies and novels that I have read, I think it is really common for the seniors to pick out on those younger people that got promoted really fast because of their performance. So I really like the fact that you said it is the qualities.
Yeah. And that is also, I think, what most millennials would expect. They are very impatient. It doesn't have to be like based on seniority or longevity of service, but I know I am not discounting the fact that experience would also be a good factor in considering someone for a position. But the kind of exposure and mindset that you can get out of like younger people, they are more open. They are not very conventional. So that one can bring something new into the institute, and this is what I've always like talk about. When I compare myself with other deans, they are more how do you call this?
Traditional.
Traditional, and they are very, very formal. We sometimes see the dean as very hard to approach, someone who is always protected. Before you can get to talk to them, you need to go to the secretary. You cannot just barge in and talk to them. But what I have implemented as part of the policy that I have since I have occupied the post is that the door is always open. Students doesn't have to go to the secretary to ask for appointment. If they can see me across the hallway, they can always talk to me. That is what I wanted our student to. Because during my time, I can hardly see the dean. I do not even have the opportunity to talk to him even after I have graduated. So these are some of the things that I don't want my students to experience. I want them to like be more open. I want them to see me as someone that they can easily talk to, approach, and treat me as not someone that is really hard to deal with because of the title dean.
That really complements the answer earlier that you don't have a distance, or you remove the distance between the management and the staffs and the students. Regarding the questions earlier, when there is a new faculty member, how does their performance in their first months or first 90 days affect your impression on them?
Well, first, one of the things that I really have to do before we can ask someone to take on the teaching job is first we get what I interview faculty. So in that way I get to learn and get to know them better. Anything that is not written in the resume, I would ask them personal so that I can get the real maybe thoughts about the kind of post and the kind of job that they are applying for. Especially the younger ones, if they want to come and teach full-time, I usually tell them, you know what, teaching is very rewarding in the sense that it can give you a sense of fulfillment but not financially rewarding. If you are young and you have the qualification and you have the credentials, go in the corporate, spend some time there and get all the experience. When you are tired already working in the corporate and you don't want the 9-to-5 job, then that's the time that you come and teach in the academy so that you can have more to share to the students based on the experience. You can not only just teach what is written in the book, because that is not very, very, very meaningful for the students because they can read the book. But what you can share to them is that they will be inspired in your journey if they learn how you were able to reach the position that you have, especially when you were working in the corporate. This is how they get to be inspired, and this is what makes them think that just like you, they can also be one of the accounting or business professionals that you are aspiring for, and it's doable. So when a new teacher comes, I really have to know what is the inspiration, why they wanted to teach, and if in case they are really decided to come and teach with us, then of course I want to inculcate to them the kind of culture that we have in FEU, so that they can be assimilated also with the rest of the faculty, so that adjustment will not be very, very difficult for them.
I wish that all the professors right now is like that, since yes, as students we can really rely on the book, we can read the book, but for me, for my opinion, I think I would learn more if the professor is teaching based on their experience.
Yeah.
It's like it is more interesting, and I really believe that there are things that I have read that school is very different in the corporate world, since there are things that you will learn in school for 4 years, but in corporate you can learn it in 1 to 3 months. Then
it's different, and it is as if what you have learned in your school for 4 years. And then remember, experience is the best teachers. It is the best teacher. Of course, the teacher can teach what they can read in the book, but that is also what you can get if you are reading the book. But you look at this. There is a child. There is a candle. There is lighted candle. You always tell the child, "Oh, do not play with the fire. It will hurt you." How would the student know that it will hurt him until he will try that he can get burned? And that's the only time that he will learn, "Oh, I cannot touch it because it hurts me." So, see, experience will teach the student, but if you just tell the student, "Oh, huwag mong gagawin to, huwag mong gagawin yan." You remember that saying, curiosity kills the cat? Because out of their curiosity, they wanted to experience and try something that they have never experienced in their life. That's why they are very, very aggressive. And they cannot understand, even if you warn them. It will not be enough for them to be prevented from doing what they have not experienced in life. So, just remember, you don't need to try naman everything. Just select the good things that you can do. Learn from your experience, but sometimes do not take something that is very, very costly. So you have to calculate also the kind of experience that will give you the best in life, and of course, not the one that would cost your life. Sinubukan mo, pag sinabi mo, when I was a child, I think I can fly. Sabi ko, why? Because I'm seeing Superman can fly. And Superman is a human being, and I was thinking, oh, I would like to be like him also. So can I fly? So I started to jump. So to jump. Scaling up, and if it was like already very high, and that is what I get all the kind of like marks, these scars that I have on my head. Kasi sinubukan ko. Akala ko nung medyo kaya pa, kaya ko. Pero pataas ng pataas, hindi na pala. So, that is how I can relate. I mean, but I got all the experience, but it's very costly. I got all this mark on my head. Kaya makikita mo yung ganyan. But, I love the experience. Pero pag namatay ako, dahil tumalon ako sa building kasi akala ko makakalipad ako, that is very, very costly. Of course, I will not do that.
Regarding the experience, one article or one forum that I have been like days ago, I also took interest in there, saying that school teaches the backbone. Let's say for accounting, they teaches us the backbone and such. Well, the experience, it teaches us how to actually apply everything, and that forum is actually related in Canada, where the students of accounting they don't totally go to school, but rather they have on-job training as long as 4 years before they take exams. And I think that one is very progressive and interesting, since we get to apply as soon as possible, since we're really interested. And so I just shared. And next question, how do you build trust and bond with new faculty members?
I usually believe in the saying that trust is like a soul. Once it departs, it will never come back. quite a harsh saying, but it will speak well on how you treasure the kind of trust that you can give to someone, that once it is broken, there will always be a mark, but it can be rebuilt, it can be reconnected, but it will not be the same. Yeah. So that is how I try to live out this kind of philosophy in life when it comes to like trust. So it takes a lot of time to trust people, and sometimes you really have to know someone easily can give their trust to someone. Usually sila yung na-abuse, but just because they see in you the vulnerability that you can easily trust people. So sometimes you will be put in a situation where they know, oh, total, patatawarin ka rin naman yan because you know the personality is like that. Pero that is something that you have to work on if in case you wanted to build a long-lasting relationship with people. But it's really hard. It's really hard working with people that you cannot trust. So I, for one, when presented with people that I barely knew, I trust that these people will not do anything bad. That is how I start, so that I cannot be very, very biased naman. Kapag hindi ko kilala, I don't trust them anymore. But of course, I will be very, very careful. Maging maingat din ako. But I am very accommodating. I'm very friendly. Pero I know what to put the line and the marks or yung distance so that we can build a long and lasting relationship. Kasi I don't want to also break good relationship, especially to people that I have come to know for such a long period of time. So that is how. I hope you learn na yan, yung saying na yan, na trust is like a soul. Once it departs, it will never come back. O, parang ano yun, di ba? Wala namang bumabalik na kaluluwa, di ba? Pag namatay na yung tao, umaalis na. O, ganun din ang tiwala. Pero ano, malupit yung kasabihan na yun. Kasi parang ang sa, wala bang second chance? Can you not forgive? Can you not forget?
Maybe. Pero,
yeah, maybe you can forgive, but sometimes it's hard to forget.
Yes.
Pero the spirit of forgiveness is something that is considered as that it will require a certain period of time, and it is a process. I can forgive you now, but if you expect that I will forget what you have done, no, that will not happen.
I love the answer since it reminds me the answer of the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, Mr. Robert.
Yeah.
Your greatest assets are the people. And again, everyone, the Dean of IABF, Mr. Borgoña.
Thank you. It was a nice discussion. Hope that I have shared something that you can also learn from. And I would like to say good luck and thank you. I hope you get a good grade for this. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you po.
Sige.
It's an hour.
Yeah, 1 hour.
Excuse me.